and namaste everyone. Welcome to the Upaya Lab podcast channel. I'm your host Kamal Dakal. January 1st, 2026. Happy New Year to everyone, wherever you are. Be healthy and be fit. So what now today onwards, what I like to discuss or share with you is like as I said, I'm more highly interested to the philosophy, meditation, spiritualism, and since my background is science, I can at least back read those papers which are more relevant to the technique, more science based or the fact based or evidence based meditation technique like self improvement techniques or a lot of other those science, cool science which are only happening inside the lab and full of jargon. As trying to my hope, my aim is to make it simple, make it stupid simple, so that everyone will can, even a normal or the people who have limited knowledge of this field can understand in such a way that it can be applied to improve their life quality, whatever it could be. So today, what I like to share is, my recent retreat in UCLA Zen Center. You know, 4 days silent meditation that really, really deep in the deep. It helps me a lot, and I got a new insight. I think that this is the foremost, the deepest meditations I have done, even far better than Vipassana meditation, which I had done long time back. That was a 14 days. Because that time I was just new, trying to, my mind was like a, racing mind, trying to grasp the idea, concept, this and that. But, after this 20, 50 years, which 20, mostly about 15 to 20 years, which I spent a lot of time understanding philosophy, meditation techniques. So now my mind is more or less settles, and then trying to I try to get more advantage of this technique these times than when how I was not capable of understanding all the technique and methods which I learned in Vipassana 15 years ago. That was in Kathmandu, Nepal. There was a very famous Vipassana meditation center in Buranilaganta, Kathmandu, Nepal. As you know, all these Vipassana centers are free. They're really helping thousands of people around the world, which Goenka, Mr. Goenka has established the center, and you don't have to pay the fee. Of course, like you have to, you feel free to donate it. That's why they're on it. Otherwise, if we don't donate, it's better to at least give some money or like donate them rather wasting money in the this like your addiction, alcohol, like whatever it could be. You can save few dollars to help those people. Eventually, they'll help someone else if you get benefit either way. Now, after this episode, as I was saying, I'll more go deep dive into the philosophy. Philosophy not such a just to entertain your mind or more educated discussion. It's just how that helps to different types of meditation or spiritual practice, how they are connected, and how science is backing up. Like many few years or at least 5, 10 years ago, people are so much. They so much dislike the religion, the spiritual concept, considering this is a superstitious, nothing to do. Now, after spending 20 years in modern science, what we understand is, well, in the surface, these techniques, these rituals, these methods, even a prayer, simple prayer, looks like more supernatural. You have to believe something, but that deep belief that eventually helps your brain to reorganize, reconnect, or the neuroplasticity, what you can call, or the psychology, which is even more important than your biology. That eventually helps, no matter whether you believe something or not. But believing something, gives you more if it gives more comfort, then why not? If it doesn't harm to other to believe something else, that is my way to say you believe it. But as you know, in this world, like nowadays, many people believe so stupid things. They take the somebody's life. That is the most terrible things. They are the, I mean, that simply you can say they are not the genuine people. They are mostly terrorists. And then the question is how since 2020 26 we have so many New Year resolutions here in the West. People put thousands of laundry list of it there. New Year so-called resolutions. I like to do this and that, and they eventually fade out pretty quickly, like a exponential decay. Within a week, or even not even within a few days, then you don't complete neither single of those resolution, those promises. Now, what I like to request to everyone these days, as you see, the meditation became so much household name now every day in the America, even Europe. It's nothing related to any culture, religion, or sect. You can completely take it out the religion from there and practice like a secular way, or you can add a little bit rituals, but it's up to you. But what I am telling is, a lot of research, universities are now interested. They did a lot of brain imaging like MRI in the people who does the meditation. It miraculously showed such a positive result, like to reduce the anxiety, depression, regulate your mood, attention, help to improve your attention disorder. Everything it is helping. We still don't know how does it helps. That the people sometimes blame. Oh, you know, if you believe in meditation, that is the things like you don't know the answer why it works, but you say it works. Well, that's the thing. Sometimes we don't know even how paracetamols works to lower your temperature. I mean, it might bind somewhere the heat receptor like your hypothalamus, which control the body temperature, but we still don't know complete mechanism. It works. We trust. We believe it. That's why some of those meditation techniques are. And what I like to introduce now slightly a Zen Buddhism. I mean, I'm not particularly, I'm more inclined to the Buddhism, and then one of the yeah, philosophically Buddhist philosophy as well as Vedantic philosophy, which is one of the in the Hindu Sanatan religion. There are more than 9, 10 philosophies like Jainism, Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Yoga. There are so many things, but in the philosophy wise, Vedanta philosophy, which is more like it's like the in the West, whether you are a dualistic, idealistic, like or pragmatistic, or like what the panpsychism. There are so many sects, like in the West you call it ism, but there they call it a religion. That's a different story. But among them, Vedantic philosophy or Vedanta and the Buddhism, they're philosophy they are also related each other. These are more scientific too. If you check with some scientific fact and concept in physics and psychology, they more match with that also. So that's why I'm easy. It's for me. It's busy to. It's more easy to buy those two philosophy for my life than the other things which I cannot justify it. Of course, you can. Like it depends upon individual people. So I have been in this field so called like, fortunately, as I said, I graduated with physics degree and my research is in the neuroscience. It somehow give me a idea how whole is, outside whole is there, what is its mechanism, how electron, proton, neutron works, and somehow the neuroscience or the biophysics, what we call is give me an idea how our biology works. So I'm at least able to correlate these things. And then recently, since I more inclined to the more interested to the philosophy, I'm trying to mix all these three together in a single plate, more like not like to be like those social media types viral content, just to discuss more dive into it, take the some essence out of it, and appreciate those people who have done it. That is the most things I like to. That is why even I initiated this podcast. Like whoever, wherever they have contributed, whether from these Arabic old, the Asian olds, European or American, whoever bring these ideas or concept. We nowadays what is happening is we are galvanizing the things, we are electroplating the things and hiding. Somebody has done millions of life, then we are falsely claiming, labeling in such a way. It is not also not appropriate to claim. For example, if somebody say, "Oh, the meditation technically these ancient people rishis have developed. Even before Buddha, there are thousands of rishis have done. Why not to give credit? If you are Buddhist, you might feel, oh no, the first person is a Buddha. Or if you are the Jewish, you might think, oh, the meditation has been developed in Jewish. But let's accept the fact. But now, if you come to the prayer, I mean, there are no more powerful Christian prayer than any other else. They have very systematically applied there. Any religions, any sect, they are really good things. You can take it. And the point is, many when I try to study like atomic theory, like we go to the like Dalton, and even Dalton, there is a Democrats in 400 BC, which give an idea of atomism. But honestly, even before that, 2000 years before the Democrats, there is a guy named is Kanad in the east, in the that times probably in India or like this eastern region. He has a book called Vaisheshika Sutra. He has a concept. There is a simple, vague idea. Definitely, he didn't go to calculus or mathematics to calculate, but put an idea there. Why not to what what is wrong not to just to give him a citation at least. Let's going to the Democrats. Let's go a little bit early. Hey, people have in these regions they have also an idea of atom put into in this book, but it is not like well formalized like in the other people, Dalton or like. Rutherford did it, but at least it's there. That's why all my things just to connect to give the site credit whoever has done in whatever part of the world. So now come to the this today's main topics, meditations in this new year. At least make a one single resolution, then making a laundry list of the resolution which never be fulfilled or never be completed. The first thing is, as you saw, as in this world, we live in such a ephemeral world or like the very transient world, dynamic world that constantly has been changing. You have very limited power to control outside. You can control only your thought, your emotions. As you see, the sadness, anxiety, depression, all these are just slightly change your mood or like by hormone, or you can call the thoughts. Something, some just a. So if you know at least how to control your thought or how to not to react, then regret, if you just to know how to pause and ponder, this will help a lot. And then obviously it's not a easy things, like cognitive understanding does not have unless you practice. But at least first, if you don't have cognitive understanding, then the practice itself is become a problem. Like in the way East, they call sadhana. That's why my whole name, this podcast name is Upaya. Upaya is a technique. It's a Sanskrit word. This technique only helps if you know that technique is helping. For example, Buddha gave a very good example. If you like to cross the river, there is a boats and boatmen. Usually the boatsmen always take you one side to the other side. For the boatmen, you'll never go to the somewhere. You just come back and here and there. Well, that is his job. But what he is trying to say is, if you fixed it only in the method, that simple method is a problem for you. That it will not let you to anywhere else. So in this year, 2026, I hope there will be a peace everywhere. The people suffering from Israel, Gaza, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, wherever they are suffering from these stupid wars, I hope they will be, this darkness, this ignorance will be replaced by the knowledge or the compassion, love. These things we need in this world. Too much war is done. Too much people have suffered. Now it's time to um, reassess those suffering, and then maybe we can fill our life with the compassion, love, like relationship to each other, good relationship to each other. In that sense, as I said, if you are filled with compassion, that person will never be like a criminal, like what you call like you'll never go and take a gun or anything weapons to shot each others. So to fulfill the compassion, I don't think is any pills or any medicine or any dogma will help us. Only thing is practicing mindfulness or slightly like whatever cultures or religion you are, just to not to kill anybody else. Yeah, you feeling the other people are also equally to you. Those will help. And eventually on that one, the mindfulness meditation is in the top. I recently take again the 4-day silence retreat in UCLA Zen Center. Actually, I was planning to go to the Deer Park Monastery in San Diego, but for some reason they didn't open this New Year or end of the year meditation, 3-4 days meditation retreat. I checked it there. Last times I applied, there was a lottery systems. I didn't get it, and this times I just saw UCLA Zen Center. I saw a program. I just applied quickly. The next day, I got it there 4 days. It has really, I interact a lot of people, silent meditations. It's really a nice place. Even though you're within the suburb, there is a lot of noise from the cars or other things is coming when you are sleeping. But at least it is a really decent place to go there. If you are around, please visit there. The second thing is, in this 2026, as I said, so many wars is going on in 2025. Let's forget that and be cultivated the mindfulness, awareness. Whatever you do with the awareness. The more aware you put on your work, your family, with your relationship, wherever you are, it never derail that systems. What derail for us yeah, as I said, is in the relationship with your spouse or children, so whoever, or the job, angry co-worker, demanding boss, like always annoying husband or wife. These things are always there. But if you put a little bit awareness, and then rather being a reactionary like a robo, then to be a human. Some people, well, like they are not well trained, or they are not cognitively understanding the things you understand, that excuse them, and then cultivate mindfulness. That is what I'm talking about today, is called Zen meditation. Slightly trying to give you an idea what is Zen is. Definitely in upcoming podcast, upcoming episode, I'm going to complete the whole depth of these different different sect of these practice, especially in the East, like Confucianism, Taoism. You can consider anything that is developed in Sufism in the East, like Hinduism, like Sanatan, or like anything. We'll discuss more details in the future. The Zen is a popular road in the West. I mean, it is mostly like now it is being commercialized everywhere. Like if you have a cup, it's a Zen cup. You see the signs of putting these stone top of each other and making a lung. That tells you a story. We have to be very careful. We have to be very aware of what we are doing. That all that piling of stone, many people even don't know what that signifies. Is okay. How do you make that tall? You have to carefully put the stones, know where these ups and downs are. Same true apply in the life too. You work in such awareness, you know what is the ups and downs, which is the rise and falls of your life, as well as who are the people that easily can be provoked, and don't play that buttons, don't click that buttons anymore. So the Zen is there in the Buddhism. As I grew up in Nepal, in the very close to the where Buddha was born in Kapilvastu. Therefore, I know much detail about the Buddhism long time before, even not from anybody else, but from our cultural side. Well, I'm not going there, but in Buddhism, if you divide in three sect, the one is called Theravada Buddhism, mostly famous in the um, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Thailand, like those things. So it's purely very monastic. Don't believe in any rituals, just meditations. Like very secular monastic life. Not indulging anything else. No meat or anything else. Not even get married. This kinds of hard life. I know you can do it, but still I believe. And then asking the food from others. This 20th century, we have to, even not even 20, long before that, Buddha was like that. But when Manjushri and Nagarjuna came in 5th, 6th century BC, 5th, 6th century, then they realized, even after Buddha, like almost thousands years have been passed, that they realize things have been changed a lot. Now we cannot continue that monastic life where every people live into the um, big temples, or those Buddhist Gumba they call it, or whatever temple, and then go into the village and ask for the food. Nowadays people busy. You have to make your own food. Very little people give a donation these days even. So, and then now that's why the Nagarjuna changed. Hey, listen, we don't like to just self-control ourselves, sitting somewhere. We just like to enlighten yourself. Let's go to the help people. Have a more compassion. Unless other people enlighten, you don't get enlightened. That's called highly compassionate people. They call bodhisattva. In the Theravada, the highest level where you can achieve the people, the enlightened people, called arahat. Means he is focusing self. I mean, Sam's like self enlightenment practice. All he's doing is to liberate from the dukkha, or the suffering of the life, what Buddha called, but for himself. Whereas the Mahayana, which is mostly coming from the Nagarjuna Sunyata, then he interpreted even Sunyata is not the negative, depressive feeling of like waste thing. It is the absence of the object, what your mind is interpreting, criticizing, labeling it. That object is definitely not there if you look at carefully. When you really try to find out something else is not there, that's equal emptiness. That means it's not the empty. It's not that the basket is not full of orange and empty of orange. That's not the emptiness what Buddha is. It's not the nihilism even Nietzsche is talking about. So then the Mayan, and then there is a Vajrayana, which is a diamond, they think that is the best one. Later, after in Padmasambhava in 13th century in Tibet and Nepal, a part of the Himalayan part of the Nepal, he developed a separate sect. He realized, okay, how he was also clever guy, like of course people who like to modify, they knew what is a drawback. You just simply, if you just add random things, like as many people like I have seen many Indian yogis and Nepalese yogis like who are not very really a good master. They try to add something random, stupid things to make their one, and how long it will goes? It will goes only on their time, unless they alive. After that, nobody will listen this. Oh, whether you pull your hand this way or that way. Somebody said this way is their way. Somebody said this way their way. Is that their own way of building? That's just a mechanistically they are same. Just a one, it's not a distinct, but the Padmasambhava, what she says, okay, in Mahayana, like, okay, you have more feel compassion, but still you feel the monastic life, go to the, be a monk, don't celibate, don't indulge in anything. Looks like a little bit people have been changed. And then again, then if you look at the Buddhist philosophy, rituals are not anymore there. And then mind, it always looks something, even if it's a dumb, stupid thing, you like to do something so that mind will feel that you did something and then feel as a grateful, right? That's why Padmasambhava really understand, okay, mind is not that, okay, you just sit down there, everything is empty. You have to do something cognitively that it will understand the emptiness, right? So then in the Tibetan culture, then they have so many god and goddesses like as a Hindu Sanatan. But what they, during the meditation, they bring it from the emptiness, create that god vision, like visualize, and then at the end they dispose. They don't keep it. They think everything goes to the emptiness. And all these rituals, mantra, like you have seen, temples, these gongs, or everything they now later discover, because they more understand how mind works. It's not very easy to tame the mind just by thinking everything is just by cognitive understanding. It needs something in direct way, right? So in out of these three, Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana, Jain Buddhism is part of the Mahayan Buddhism. So Mahayan, after the Nagarjuna, there was a guy named called Bodhidharma from India. And he was, to be honest, as a legendary says, he was really very ill-tempered guy, very short-tempered guy. He was very angry. Like even though he's a Buddhist monk, tried to get enlightened, but I probably he was frustrated. He couldn't get enlightened, and he used to throw stones to the other people, say a very bad words. Very ill-tempered guy, but he was a Buddhist monk. And he went to China mid around thousandth century, and then he went to China, and the famous Chinese temple in the Indian province now, Ceylon Temple. If you look at the document in Netflix, like everywhere else, there is a guy famous showing the sword, playing with the sword, and then dancing in the street. That is the Bodhidharma, Kung Fu. They call Kung Fu. He teaches their fighting skills to the monk. And to my honor, why the monk need even this belief? They're supposed to believe in non-violence, not to eat each other. Why do you have to know Kung Fu? Why do you have to do this, sword dance? But as you know, that time people there, the tribal people were there. One is to attack the other, even the animals. You need to learn some basic defense mechanism. That's why Bodhidharma. That's why famous temple, Ceylon Temple, is there where the Bodhidharma meditate. And the legend said that even there, and then there is a meditation in the Sanskrit and Pali is called dhyana. That's why the Buddhist people or the many Sanatan people call it Sanatan, because I don't like to call also Hindu, because Hindu is very limited. It gives you only 200 years history, but if you say Sanatan, it is a thousands, 10,000 years history is there. So don't make ourselves or people like who are from that region limited ourselves just calling Hindu, because Hindu word is also given by some foreigner, the people who lives east of that Sindhu river which flows in the Pakistan. And the civilization there they call Sindhu. That's why they call Indus Valley civilization. From Indus it became Hindus. It's back to around 16, 17, 15, 16 to 15th century, right? But before that, there is a very rich civilization called Vedic Sanatan, Vedic civilization. Thousands of enlightened people. They also called scientists, or I would assume they observe the things. but in the induction way, not the deduction way how scientists does it today, break down everything, go to the molecule, find out the molecule property, then assign the property, then you realize what that object is. That's not the always works. Even inductive way, you first understand the whole, then you know the part. So that's why these whole these any scripture you read in Sanatan, these Vedas or Upanishad, they are full of these discourses, logic. They are coming from the understanding the whole, not from the part. Like the body, mind. They don't go to look at the individual neuron how they are connected. And back to that story. So Bodhidharma went to us in China, famous temple now, one of the best tourist attraction in the China is called Silent Temple, and as a like he was even the furious, but was very detriment. That's why the New Year resolution he has a very strong resolutions. Not New Year, not until I get enlightened, I like to do meditation. So he sat into meditation. He used to stare at the things very constantly, either the stone or wall. And there is a legend that the wall or the stone is even born out because he constantly look at that. That must they believe that power is going. It's maybe legend. It's just a legend, right? And at the very first few months, days when he's first of all, like when he tried to meditate, he used to constantly fall asleep. And it was said that he just caught his eyelid, getting very angry because he's a ill-tempered guy. You know what you're gonna do? The stupid people sometimes comes with a brilliant idea. That's why I believe Steve Jobs once said, like, Steve Jobs are like Microsoft CEO, like, whoever said that, they said that, okay, I like to hire a lazy guy because lazy guy always find a clever way to solve the problem. Well, that's why he's clever way, cut the eyelid so you will never fall asleep, right? That's why this Jain Buddhism, many people's the pictures, the monk depicted as a eye without eyelid, as a like it's just a symbolism. Then after his eyelid grow up, brings the tea, and that is the tea that stimulate him. That's why he used to make a tea from that plant, from his eyelid, wherever he threw out, growth as a plant. As you see, as a scientist or biologist, you probably don't believe it. That's the reason that many Buddhists believe it. Then after 9 years, constantly doing meditation, he got enlightened, and he was one of the bodhisattvas. And from then but he was, as I said, he's a very seclusive guy. He doesn't like to teach anyone. Even the person who I think won Hayaku, his first disciple of Chinese name, I forget it, but this is the given name to him. That Hayaku came in and asked him to, hey, can you teach me the meditation? Well, I don't like to, the angry voice. And then he was also get frustrated, he sat down there. Then he constantly irritated that Bodhidharma during his meditation and said, listen, can you tell me your single wish? I rather like to fulfill your wish, rather not. I don't like to get irritated, like every time you're coming here, staying outside in snow. He said, well, I only demand. I don't demand anything. Please teach your knowledge to me. And that's why he compelled. After 9 years, he teaches him. And slowly and slowly that his ideas, how to do meditation, how to live the life. And he used to help other monks to learn the kung fu, make a nice tea. He's not like monastic, he used to very active guy too. Gardening, that's why all these Jain monks or Jain center, they help you to go to garden, walking. You don't sit down there meditation for a whole day because he himself do tea, making tea, gardening. That's why he get enlightened. Then from there, it was the technique then, the Buddhist methods, or even before Buddha, we suppose not to forget that Buddha did not invent the meditation. He did one way of doing meditation, but in Sanatan culture, in that times in Nepal and India, thousands of rishis have done so many meditations. So if you believe in legend of the story, it technically goes back to a god name or mythical name. If you are not a spiritual guy, Lord Shiva, all the credit for the meditation goes to him. That's why, whoever it is, at least there is already established methods were there in the before Buddha of the meditation. But Buddha did some different, focusing on here, this God, that shape, this shape. He focuses something which is inside your body, that is a breath. And that's why I call mindfulness, right? So all these techniques come to the Bodhidharma, teaches him, then slowly in China it is spread. But instead of then, the Chinese, as you say, everyone culture has an accent, as do we have to. They pronounce it as Chan, then Chan. You see, so they say instead of then they say Chan, and then in 12th century, Moyai Isai, one of the Japanese monk, he went there. Into that time, not by plane, by walking, wandering, people try to seek things, the truth, how to live a life different way. And Dogen, these are the two first Japanese monk went to there, people, and then learn that Chun or Dhan, you will say, and come to the Japan, and Japanese people pronounce in their way called Chun as a Zen. So the Dhan is a Sanskrit root words, which is wrongly people translate as a concentration. Concentration is not a Dhan, is not the meditation, is not that one. But mostly people understand meditation as a kind of concentration, which is not. Concentration is a way to bring the meditation. Like you concentrate on a flame or like the small lamp or the any object. What that creates is that creates a constantly a dhyan, that the attention. It is a tool, the concentration, not the itself as a method. So the Japanese then they call Zen. So Zen is, that's why the Zen religion they call in Japan. And as I told, since anything Japanese people discover and build it, they build it for a reason. That's why Japanese, anything made in Japan is considered very high quality. And I said, let's try to understand that how things are. And really, I'm surprised the way how they do in the Zen Center, at least in the UCLA. I am more aware of their people. They are very helpful. So everything is very well systematic. There is not a single minute you will lose or squander there. It is highly structured and useful for me, at least for me. Then in the one guy, Moai, I said Rinzai and Soto, there are two sects, as you see, every people has different ideas, slightly different version where do you like to focus, even inside that. So the Zen, out of this, so many these rules and regulation in the Buddhist is full of rules and regulation technically. There is 3 Pitak, they call 3 Pitak. 3 means 3, Pitak means basket. These are 3 huge voluminous book, Vinaya Pitak, Sutra Pitaks, and Abhidhamma Pitak. Vinaya Pitak is whole discuss about what to do, what is the song about, what the male supposed to do, what nitty-gritty of all these rules and regulations. And Theravada mostly focus on there. They are more ritualistic, by rule. Whereas the Mayan people, they are a little bit modernized. Don't worry about rules, but let's analyze the rules. If it's okay, it fits for you, apply it. Otherwise, it's just because the Buddha said don't use it, because they were not relevant at that time. That's why the Mayan is slightly modified version. And when the Zen came, you see, within the Mayan, the Zen only focuses sitting meditation, just Zazen. In the old Zazen is a Japanese word. Zazen means just sit, do nothing. Well, you might surprise, just sit and doing nothing, that helps. Technically, it helps. It's like the screen. If you like to see moving things, first of all, we are highly attached to the feelings, thought. There is no difference between the person who decide what is good, what is bad. Something is there which is deciding, all criticizing, and which is something is there which is just witnessing. So the I is fluctuating between these so many thoughts, but there is a one thing which also observe all these things passively. So there is a screen inside us where this movie is going on. That's the whole story of Jain Buddhism. Then the idea is if you just moving the screen also, then every image, the video, movie is moving, shaking, and you don't know. But if you keep the constant still of your screen, then you realize screen is not moving. Actually, these images are moving. That's why creating a illusion in our eye, what we call movie. Movie is just a bunch of images, still images showing like 20, 24, 25 frames per second, right? That creates the illusion as a motion. Similarly, in the Zen, you sit down there until and unless you are totally detached from these thoughts and fixed on that witnessing things, what they call sunyata, what they call emptiness. Of course, because there is no word to represent that time. How do you say? If you say anything, that became something. So that's why they call emptiness. And very wisely it coins. Similar in Vedantic concept is called Punada, that means infinite. It means both are technically same. Mathematically, infinity and zero are reciprocal each other. Zero by something is zero, one by zero is infinity. So conceptually also same. They are technically in the Buddhist philosophy and Vedantic philosophy. So right now then the Zazen, they focus on the, like one Soto focus on the this so-called koan, like there is so many riddles, the sentences in the Zen Buddhism. The idea is they are full of koans. Like for example, listen to the clapping of one hand. Well, you always know what clapping by two hands, but how do you know? How do you listen the clapping of one hand? How can you clap? You can't. But we are so logical. We are so our mind is constantly thinking and analyzing and discriminating, dividing. Uh, that mind go on. Okay, one hand. You just go on thinking. Whole idea of Zen is just don't think. These are just to break down your duality. Come to the unity or the whole or sunyata. That's the whole these koans are. So there is a 800 list of koans. So one sort of focus on that. Rinzai focus on not in the koan but just sitting and sitting, putting awareness on everything. If you are eating, put whole awareness there. When I was 4 days in UCLA Zen Center, man, they don't talk single things, not even the lunch, and everything is by the clue, just clapping or by sound, by the bell or by the things. Oh my goodness. Then I realized after 4 days why I chatter so much. I lose my energy talking, discussing to the stupid people, try to convince them. And I realized silence is the most powerful weapons. And that silence is not the loneliness. It's not the feeling of something I'm lacking. That is something is there. You connected with the silence. It's just clicking there. At least I feel it within the 2 days. I mean, I cannot keep it constant. I'm not saying I'm enlightened either, but I can feel the sense of there. So the Rinzai school focus on the sitting meditations, and then eventually all these Japanese people, they come to 1960s in the US. They established there are so many Zen center in the US. They are quite popular. The reason is, first of all, I'm surprised there is no fixed rule. You can even eat meat, drink alcohol. There is no fixed single rules. But as a Zen people, don't lose your awareness. Of course, if you lose your awareness, so you can drink the alcohol unless till that point where you don't lose your consciousness. I mean awareness. And then they eat egg, which I also used to do it, but at least it gives me a comfort. And I asked that master there, hey, why do you eat eggs? Eggs are really not a good thing in the Buddhist food. They are not the Buddhist food, but they say in Japanese tradition, egg is called vegetarian. Not a vegan, but vegetarian, which I agree also. It's unfertilized egg, so it does not have any life there. So all those things, they are very free rule of things, but they like to put a constant awareness on everything. I believe that is the most important things. Whatever you're doing on all these ritualistic things, mantra, jap, tap, anything, these yoga, all is bringing back to your sense to be a one place. So that's why their focus is Jain meditation or the awareness on that field, right? As I said, this is just my second or third episode in the English. As I'll be now future continuing put all whatever I am a bilingual, I'll make a one episode in the Nepali and then same content in the English channel just to reach out the wider audience. For at least if my words, my wisdom, my vision, my this 40 years of knowledge of science, if it helps someone else, it will maybe if it sometimes things does not valued in your family, in your society, in your friends, but it is get valued somewhere else. So I don't like to put those things inside me and die. One day if I die, everything will be go with me. I like to leave it here, some traces, so that people can get benefited. In such a way, that's it. I again thank you for listening this Upaya podcast in English versions. I'll keep continuing and Zazen, as I told you, there is a whole like Zen Buddhism. They focus in everywhere, like UCLA, San Francisco Zen Center. There is a very famous guy, Thich Nhat Hanh. He recently died a few years back. He established a very big commune in France called Plum Village. And he was one of the guy who popularized the Zen Buddhisms throughout the US. And I mean, if you have to choose it, at least if you have not tried, go to there or near, wherever is nearby you. And at least in this year, 2026, please make a one resolution. And you can make it anything, but I'll request if you try to be a meditate 20, 30 minutes per day. As you have heard in one of the famous Huberman Lab podcast, a professor from the New York University Department of Neuroscience and Physiology, um, Wendy Suzuki, he said even a 5 minute meditation, if you did for 6 months, improve the attention. So they have published a paper which they did a very systematic study where if you did a meditation for 13 minutes per day for 6 months, it improved. Finally, they found in a trial of human trial, it improved the attention, it regulates your mood. Don't ask me why, how, like there, like what molecules, what binds. That is still we are studying, but at least it helps to reorganize the brain. Let's put it that way. And it's not any dogmatic. It's not any belongs to any. You don't have to be Hindu or Sanatan Buddhist or anything. You can be whatever you be, but try to put that meditation in your list, in your disk. I hope that will make people better. If you make the people better, eventually the whole society will be better. Thank you again and Happy New Year. See you in next episode.